Hi everyone, this is Holly Clawges. Are you a high school senior or have a high school senior in your life? Well, today's book talk is all about them. Seniors are living through a very specific moment in time where they focus on finding out who they are, what they want out of life, where they want to go to college, if they want to go to college, standardized testing, college admissions, prom, graduation, all of it. Add on top of all of that the stress, the concept that your time with your friends is limited. There's a finite amount of time left before your senior year ends and your friend group disseminates to pursue their own interests. No relationship is guaranteed to last after that moment, whether as friends or romantic partners. So I'm going to give you three books today that all deal with the senior year of high school and specifically romances surrounding that special year. The first book I'd like to tell you about is Frankly in Love by David Yoon. This book is a 2020 William C. Morris YA Debut Award finalist, which is an award the American Library Association gives to first-time authors for impressive new voices in young adult literature. It was also an Asian Pacific American Librarians Association honor book this year. Frankly in Love tells a story of Frank Lee, Korean American high school senior in Southern California. Frank was born and raised in California, but his parents are from Korea and maintain a lot of Korean traditions and culture. For example, they want him to only date Korean girls. His Korean friend Joy is in a similar situation with her parents, so they hatch this fake dating plan. They pretend to fake date each other in front of their parents and then date someone else who's not Korean behind their backs. As you might expect, fake dating plans never quite work out right, and Frank and Joy end up creating more drama than they expected. While Frank tries to figure out who he wants a romance with, constantly in the background are questions about the future. Frank and his group of friends are all quite nerdy and studious, and they have large ambitions about test scores and where they want to go to school. And then on top of the romance and planning for the future, life keeps throwing Frank curveballs. Through it all, Frank tries to figure out who he is and what love really means. This is really a heartfelt and funny book, and I really fell for Frank. The second book I'd like to tell you about is The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner. This was also a winner of the William C. Morris Award in 2017 and probably one of my favorite books I've read this semester. This is like the complete opposite of Frankly in Love in some ways. The Serpent King tells the story of high school senior Dillard Early Jr. and his two best friends, Lydia and Travis, in the town of Forestville, Tennessee, a small rural town named after the founder of the KKK. Dill's father, Dillard Early Sr., was the pastor of a local snake handling church until his fall from grace and subsequent imprisonment for having illegal pictures on his computer. As you might imagine, his father's imprisonment adds a lot of stress to Dill's life, as the town seems to believe that he had a hand in his father's illicit activities. His friend Travis works part-time at his family's lumberyard and spends the rest of his free time either with his friends or reading a popular fantasy series. Travis's goal after high school is to keep working in the lumberyard and start writing his own fantasy series. Their friend Lydia has her eyes on the future. She runs a popular fashion blog and has connections and dreams of making it big in New York City after graduation. The problem is that she's kind of like the glue holding the rest of the crew together. This book begins with Dill starting to clock on their senior year, noting that every time they do something together, it could be the last. And just when he seems to be getting on his feet and figuring things out, tragedy strikes and tests Dill's resolve like it's never been tested before. This was a beautifully written book. Jeff Zentner brings the South to life with his descriptions, and as someone who grew up in small town Alabama, I connected with this book on multiple levels. One of the best quotes is the one on the cover: "If you're going to live, you might as well do painful, brave, and beautiful things." So true. The third and final book I'd like to tell you about is Becky Albertalli's Leah on the Offbeat. This was a funny and delightful story and just the thing to read after the seriousness of The Serpent King. If you like snarky characters full of sarcasm, Leah is your girl. If you've read Becky Albertalli's Simon versus the Homo sapiens Agenda, you may remember Leah as this book was written in the same universe. So Leah is bisexual. She's out to her mother, but never really found the right time to come out to her BFF Simon, even though she knows Simon would accept her because he's gay after all. This book really focuses on how romance is affected by the senior year stressors. Are long distance relationships possible? Should you be a college roommate with the person you're crushing on? It's not just Leah's relationships at the focus of this book, but those of all of her friends as well. Simon and Bram, Nick and Abby. Each of these relationships exhibit questions that high school seniors might be asking about their own relationships. So this is a good example of the different types of relationships that you might encounter as a high school senior. On top of that, the issue of microaggressions against one of the characters, Abby, who is African American, plays a prominent role and is an opportunity to discuss microaggressions with a larger audience. Overall, I thought this book was funny. While Leah is snarky and stubborn, she can also be endearing and cute. So there we have it, friends. 3 books that describe the different tensions and stressors of your high school senior year. Frankly in Love by David Yoon, The Serpent King by Jeff Zentner, and Leah on the Offbeat by Becky Albertalli. I enjoyed reading these books and found something special in each of them. I will put links to the library's books below, and I appreciate your time today. Thank you.